In 1974, a Boy Scout troop in Oregon rode out a 3-day storm with nothing but garbage bags and stayed bone dry. Meanwhile, hikers with the best gear money could buy came home soaked. Here's the twist. The cheapest tricks on this list outperform waterproof gear that cost hundreds of dollars. Number 14 keeps you drier than a $400 rain jacket, and it costs less than $1. And number 3, outdoor companies would rather you never found out about it, because if you did, you'd stop buying half the gear in their catalog. These 25 tricks have kept broke campers dry for generations while the rest of us empty our wallets at the outdoor store. Before we start, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to learn might save you a small fortune. Let's count down the 25 smartest rain camping tricks that make expensive gear look ridiculous. Number 25, the trash bag pack liner. Before ultralight backpackers spent $50 on a waterproof pack liner, broke campers used a single contractor-grade trash bag. You slide one heavy-duty 3mm bag inside your backpack, load all your gear into it, then twist the top and tuck it down. Everything inside stays bone dry, even if your pack gets fully submerged. The trick is the twist and tuck seal, not a knot. A knot lets water wick through, but a tight roll of the opening keeps it out completely. A box of 10 costs about $4 at the hardware store. That's 40 cents of protection versus a $50 branded liner that does the exact same job. Rain covers that strap over the outside of your pack actually fail in wind, funneling water straight down your back panel. The liner never does. It protects from the inside out and it can't blow off. Number 24, the contractor bag ground cloth. Manufacturers sell tent footprints cut to fit your exact model for $30 to $60. A pair of 42-gallon contractor bags does the same job better for under $2. You split the bags along the seams, lay them flat under your tent, and fold the edges under so no lip sticks out past the tent floor. That last part matters. Any edge that pokes out catches rain and channels it under you like a gutter. Tucked properly, the plastic blocks ground moisture from wicking up through your tent floor all night. The 3mm contractor plastic is actually thicker and more puncture-resistant than most factory footprints. Campers have stayed dry on soaked ground with this since the bags were invented. $60 for branded plastic, or $2 for tougher plastic that works better. The math isn't close. Number 23, the freezer bag dry box. Serious dry bags run $20 to $40 each, and you need several of them. A box of gallon freezer bags costs about $3 and protects everything that actually matters. Your phone, wallet, matches, first aid supplies, and spare socks each get their own bag, air pressed out before sealing. Double bag the phone, and it survives a river crossing. The freezer-grade bags are the key, not the thin sandwich ones, because the thicker plastic and the double zipper hold under pressure. Old-timers kept their matches dry this way decades before waterproof match cases existed. You can even see through the bag, so you're not digging blind in a downpour. A $40 dry bag holds one item. 10 freezer bags hold your entire kit for $3, and if one fails, you've only lost what was in that single bag. Number 22, newspaper boot drying. Wet boots overnight are a special kind of misery, and camp stores sell electric boot dryers for $60 that need power you don't have in the backcountry. Newspaper does it for free. You crumple sheets loosely and stuff them deep into each boot before bed, then swap for fresh paper once around midnight if they're truly soaked. The paper pulls moisture out of the lining through simple absorption, and by morning your boots are dry enough to wear without that gut punch of cold, wet leather. This trick came straight out of the old logging camps, where men couldn't afford to ruin the only boots they owned. Newspaper also holds the boot's shape so it doesn't curl as it dries. A stack of old papers costs nothing, weighs almost nothing, and doubles as fire tinder once you're done drying your feet. Number 21, duct tape seam sealing. Tent seams are where cheap tents leak, and the seam sealer tubes at the outdoor store cost $12 for a thimble of goop. A roll of quality duct tape fixes it for pennies per repair. You run a strip along the inside of every major seam, pressing it flat with your thumbnail so no air pockets remain. The tape blocks water from wicking through the needle holes where the fabric was stitched. For a torn rainfly, a patch of tape on both sides makes an instant waterproof bandage that outlasts the trip. Thru-hikers wrap a few feet of duct tape around a trekking pole so they always have it without carrying the whole roll. $12 seam sealer dries brittle and cracks in a season. Duct tape flexes with the fabric and holds. One roll seals an entire tent and still has plenty left over. Number 20. The shower curtain Tarp. A dollar store vinyl shower curtain is one of the most versatile pieces of rain gear you can carry. At $1 or $2, it becomes a ground sheet, a gear cover, an emergency poncho, or a rain catch for drinking water. The plastic is fully waterproof and comes with grommet holes already punched along the top, so you can string it up with cord in seconds. Broke campers have used these as a quick roof over a picnic table or a cooking spot, keeping the stove and food dry while the rain pours down. It packs to the size of a sandwich and weighs a few ounces. Branded utility tarps of the same size run $15 to $20 and don't come with grommets spaced for a person. The shower curtain does, because it was designed to hang. You just repurposed it. Number 19. First pattern break. Here's where it gets interesting. The trekking umbrella. Hardcore hikers will tell you umbrellas are for city sidewalks, and they're wrong. In steady rain, a cheap collapsible umbrella keeps you drier and far more comfortable than any jacket, because a rain jacket traps your own sweat and soaks you from the inside. An umbrella lets air move freely while blocking the rain from above. You can clip a $5 umbrella to your pack strap with a binder clip and hike hands-free, or hold it over your stove to cook in a downpour. Desert hikers use them for shade, but in the rain, they're a revelation. A breathable, waterproof jacket costs $200 and still leaves you clammy after an hour of climbing. The umbrella never does, because the physics are simpler. You don't need a fancy membrane to breathe if the rain isn't touching you in the first place. Number 18. Cotton balls and petroleum jelly. Starting a fire in the rain is where expensive fire kits fall apart, and campers spend real money on branded waterproof tinder cubes. Cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly beat all of them for about a penny each. You work a glob of jelly into each cotton ball until it's saturated, then store them in an old pill bottle or a freezer bag. One ball catches a spark instantly and burns for 3 to 5 minutes with a strong flame, long enough to dry out and ignite damp kindling. The petroleum jelly is the fuel and the cotton is the wick, the same principle as a candle. This has been backcountry gospel for decades because it simply works when everything is soaked. A bag of cotton balls and a tub of jelly costs $3 and makes 100 fire starters. The store-bought cubes cost $10 for a dozen. Number 17. Dryer lint fire starter. The lint you throw away from your dryer is free, and it catches fire faster than almost anything you can buy. You stuff it into cardboard toilet paper tubes or pack it into the cups of a cardboard egg carton and pour melted candle wax over the top. Each cup tears off as one waterproof fire starter that burns for several minutes. The lint ignites from a single spark because it's made of fine, dry fibers, exactly what a flame needs to grab hold of. Frugal campers have burned their laundry lint for generations rather than pay for fire cubes. The wax coating means it shrugs off moisture in your pack, so it's ready even after a wet day on the trail. You're turning garbage into the most reliable fire starter in your kit. A whole season's worth costs you nothing but the wax from a dollar store candle. Number 16. Candle wax boot proofing. Waterproofing sprays for boots run $15 a can and wear off in a couple of trips. A plain paraffin candle or a block of beeswax does the job for $1 and lasts far longer. You rub the wax firmly over the entire boot, working it into the seams and the stitching, then warm the leather with a hairdryer or hold it near the fire so the wax melts into the material. The wax fills the pores and creates a barrier that beads water for weeks. This is how people kept their work boots dry long before spray cans existed. It darkens the leather, which is the only trade-off, and plenty of folks like the aged look. A single candle reproofs a pair of boots a dozen times over. The spray gives you 2 or 3 applications for $15, then it's empty and in the trash. Number 15. Bread Bag Vapor Socks. Wet feet in cold weather can end a trip and cause real injury, and vapor barrier socks from the outdoor store cost $25 a pair. 2 bread bags do the identical job for free. You put on a thin liner sock, slide a plastic bread bag over each foot, then pull your wool sock over the top and lace up your boots. The bag traps your foot's warmth and keeps outside moisture from soaking your insulating sock, so your feet stay warm even when your boots are drenched. Arctic explorers and broke hunters have used this exact method for decades. The trick is the liner sock underneath, which keeps the plastic from feeling clammy against your skin. $25 for engineered vapor socks, or a free bag that held your sandwich bread this morning. Both keep your wool sock dry. Only one costs you anything. Number 14. The Trash Bag Poncho. Here's the one from the start. A single heavy-duty trash bag outperforms a $400 rain jacket in a downpour, and it costs less than $1. You cut a slit for your head along the closed bottom and a hole for each arm on the sides. Then pull it on over yourself and your pack. The plastic is completely waterproof. No membrane to wet out, no seams to leak, no zippers to fail. A 42-gallon bag is big enough to drape over a loaded backpack, so your gear stays dry too, something most jackets can't manage. This is the ultimate broke camper move, and it genuinely works better than premium shells in heavy rain because there's nothing about it to fail. Fancy jackets wet out and stop breathing after an hour, then soak you in your own sweat. The trash bag never pretends to breathe. It just keeps the water out every single time. Number 13. Second pattern break. Controversy incoming. The Mylar under your pad. That crinkly space blanket from the dollar store is one of the most misunderstood pieces of gear you can own. Everyone drapes it over themselves where it does almost nothing, when the real magic is underneath you. The ground steals more of your body heat than the air ever will, and a $2 Mylar sheet placed between your sleeping pad and the ground reflects that warmth back up toward you. You lay the reflective side facing up so it bounces your heat back instead of letting the cold earth drink it. Campers who figured this out sleep warm on cold, wet ground that leaves everyone else shivering. Outdoor brands sell reflective ground insulation for $30. That is quite literally the same Mylar with a logo printed on it. $2 versus $30 for identical material. The only difference is where you put it, and now you know. Number 12. The Tarp Lean-To. A basic poly tarp and some cord create shelter that rivals tents costing hundreds of dollars. You tie a ridgeline between 2 trees, drape the tarp over it, and stake the back edge low to the ground while the front stays high, forming a lean-to that blocks wind and rain while letting you see out and cook underneath. An 8x10 tarp from the hardware store costs about $8. Set up right, it sheds rain all night and gives you far more usable space than a cramped tent. The key is pitching the back into the wind and keeping the ridgeline tight so water runs off instead of pooling. Bushcrafters swear by tarp camping because it's lighter, cheaper, and more adaptable than any tent. You can pitch it a dozen different ways for different weather. A $300 tent does one shape. The tarp does them all. Number 11. The drip line trick. Here's a problem nobody warns you about. Rain runs down your tent's guy lines and pools right at the stake, then seeps under your tent floor. The fix costs nothing. You tie a short length of yarn or a small strip of cloth around each guy line a few inches from where it meets the tent, hanging down. Water traveling down the line hits that little tail and drips off harmlessly to the ground instead of running all the way to your tent. Sailors and old campers call these drip lines, and they're the difference between a dry floor and a wet one. You can also just tie an overhand knot in the line for the same effect. It takes 30 seconds and a scrap of string you already have. There's no product to buy because no company can sell you a piece of yarn for $30, though they'd love to try. Number 10. Chip Bag Tinder. Third pattern break. When your kindling is soaked and your matches are down to the last few, a bag of chips can save your fire. Greasy corn chips are soaked in oil, which means they burn like little torches. You pile a handful under your kindling and touch a flame to them, and they'll burn for a couple of minutes, long enough to catch damp wood. The oil is the fuel and the chip is the structure, the same reason cotton balls and jelly work. Survival instructors demonstrate this because it genuinely works and everyone has snacks in their pack. A single chip lights from a match even when it's windy. You lose a handful of your trail snack, sure, but you gain a fire when you need it most. Waterproof commercial tinder costs money and takes up space. Your lunch was already in your bag. Number 9. Pick the high ground. The most important rain camping trick costs absolutely nothing, and it's where most people go wrong. Where you pitch your tent matters more than what tent you own. You avoid the low spot, the pretty flat hollow, the dry-looking creek bed, because those are exactly where water collects when the sky opens up. Instead, you find a slight rise, even a few inches of elevation, where water drains away from you instead of toward you. Experienced campers read the land before they unpack, looking for the subtle high point and the natural drainage paths. A $500 tent pitched in a puddle will flood. A $20 tent on high ground stays dry. This is knowledge, not gear, and it's the single biggest reason some campers stay dry while others wake up floating. Look up too and steer clear of dead branches hanging overhead. Number 8. Rice and silica drying. When your phone, headlamp, or electronics get wet, expensive isn't an option in the backcountry, but a bag of dry rice or a handful of silica packets pulls the moisture out. You seal the wet item in a bag with rice or the little silica gel packs you've been throwing away and let it sit overnight. The desiccant draws the water out of the device by absorption. Those silica packets that come in shoe boxes, jerky bags, and pill bottles are free, and they work far better than rice because that's literally their whole job. Smart campers save them in a jar all year for exactly this. A commercial electronics drying kit costs $20 and contains the same silica gel you've been tossing in the garbage. Keep a few packs in your ditty bag, and your gadgets survive the trip your buddy's phone didn't. Number 7. The Space Blanket Tent Liner. A cold tent on a rainy night radiates your heat straight out through the ceiling, and campers pay real money for heat-reflective tent liners. A $2 space blanket taped to the inside of your tent roof does the same thing. You tape the reflective sheet to the ceiling with the shiny side facing down, toward you, so your body heat and the warmth from a candle bounce back down instead of escaping. The inside of the tent warms up noticeably, which also cuts the condensation that would otherwise drip on you all night. Winter campers use this to take the bite off freezing nights without hauling a heavier bag. A few pieces of tape and a dollar store blanket transform how warm your tent feels. The branded reflective liners cost $30 or $40 and are, once again, the exact same Mylar. You're paying for a logo and a hem. Number 6. Cheap wool socks. Here's a place where spending more actively hurts you. Expensive waterproof socks and pricey technical liners fail the moment they get fully soaked, but plain wool socks keep working wet. Wool holds warmth even when it's drenched, which cotton never does, and which fancy synthetics do only inconsistently. A 3-pack of surplus wool socks cost about $10, and you carry a dry spare sealed in a freezer bag to change into at camp. That one dry change of socks at the end of the day does more for your comfort than any $40 sock ever will. Hunters and soldiers have relied on wool for centuries because it just works, wet or dry. The trick isn't keeping your feet perfectly dry all day, which is impossible in real rain. The trick is warm when wet material during the hike and a guaranteed dry pair waiting at camp. Number 5. Tampon Tinder. 4th pattern break. This one surprises everyone. A tampon is one of the most useful fire and first aid items you can carry, and it costs about a dime. The cotton inside pulls apart into fine, fluffy fibers that catch a spark instantly, making it excellent tinder even in damp conditions. The whole thing is sealed in a waterproof wrapper, so it stays dry at the bottom of your pack no matter what happens. In an emergency, that same sterile cotton makes a decent wound dressing, which is what the cotton was designed to absorb for in the first place. Survival instructors have taught this for years because it's cheap, light, and does 3 jobs at once. You can even use the cotton as a rough water pre-filter to strain out sediment. A whole box costs a few dollars and rides in your kit for years. Nobody markets it as camping gear, which is exactly why it's so cheap. Number 4. The windshield sunshade pad. Those reflective foldable sunshades for car windshields are $5 at any auto store, and they make a shockingly good insulated sitting pad or sleeping pad booster. The foam and mylar construction blocks cold from the ground and reflects your heat back, the same principle as a $40 closed-cell foam pad. You sit on it around camp to keep your backside warm and dry, or lay it under your sleeping pad for a serious warmth boost on cold nights. It folds flat, weighs almost nothing, and if it gets muddy, you just wipe it off. Budget campers have used these for years as a stand-in for pricey ground insulation. The reflective side does real work bouncing body heat, and the foam does real work stopping the cold ground. $5 for something built to insulate a car does the same job as gear designed and priced for the trail. Number 3. Re-waterproof everything, the biggest reveal on this list. Here's what outdoor companies would rather you never learned. That broken rain jacket that soaks through isn't broken. Its waterproof coating has just worn off, and you can bring it back to life for a few dollars instead of buying a new $200 shell. You toss the jacket in the wash, then either run it through with a bottle of wash and waterproofing, or, cheaper still, iron a light coating of paraffin into the fabric and heat it so it sets. The water beads up again like the jacket is brand new. The same goes for canvas tents, backpacks, and boots, all revived with wax or cheap reproofing rather than replaced. Gear brands love that most people throw out a jacket the moment it wets out, because a new sale beats a $5 fix every time. A whole closet of dead rain gear comes back for the price of one candle. They're counting on you not knowing that. Number 2, the do-it-yourself stake and repair kit. When a tent stake bends or snaps in hard ground, most people panic, but the fix has been under your feet the whole time. You cut a sturdy stick, sharpen one end, and notch the top to catch the guy line, and you've got a stake stronger than the flimsy aluminum ones your tent came with. For repairs, a $2 sewing kit and a spool of dental floss handle almost any tear. Floss is stronger than thread and waterproof, so a stitched seam holds through the storm. Old campers carried a needle and floss instead of expensive gear repair patches that cost $15 and don't always stick to wet fabric. You can rig a broken zipper pull with a paper clip and mend a ripped strap with floss and a needle in minutes. The wilderness provides the stakes for free, and a couple of dollars of sewing supplies fixes the rest. Number 1, the tarp over the tent. And the number 1 trick, the one that ties everything together, is deceptively simple. You pitch a cheap tarp above your tent, strung on a ridgeline a foot or two over the rainfly, and it changes everything. The tarp takes the full force of the rain, so your tent never does, keeping the flybone dry and stopping the leaks that come from water pounding directly on aging fabric. It also creates a dry porch where you can cook, pull off muddy boots, and stash gear out of the weather. A $10 tarp effectively upgrades a bargain tent into an all-weather shelter that outperforms models costing 10 times as much. This is the trick that broke campers swear kept them dry through storms that flooded out everyone around them. The tent stays dry because the rain never touches it. The rain hits the tarp, runs off the sides, and you sleep through the whole thing. It's the cheapest waterproofing upgrade in camping, and it makes premium tents look like a waste of money. Here's my challenge. Try just one of these on your next trip. The trash bag poncho, the tarp over your tent, the cotton balls and jelly, the mylar under your pad. Then come back and tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if that $400 jacket really beat a dollar's worth of plastic, because I've tested these and I'm not going back. Drop a comment with the one you're trying first. I want to see if the tarp over tent trick gets more love than the trekking umbrella. Your wallet's going to thank you, and so are your dry feet.